Hey everybody, so I was having an interesting discussion on Twitter, cue the unicorn, and I thought I'd share it with you. Which side is analogous to the Confederacy in today's modern America? Let's ask the deep questions here on Take That with Kurt Schlichter. So anyway, I'm talking to an idiot on Twitter because Twitter's all about talking to idiots. And he's yapping back and forth, and I mentioned, hey, you seem pretty uppity. The last time you guys got uppity and started a civil war, you lost. So maybe you shouldn't be so uppity. See, he was suggesting killing certain kinds of Americans for being certain kind of Americans, and I thought that was bad. And anyway, so this got me to thinking, which side, the conservatives or the liberals, the Republicans or the Democrats, is analogous to which in the Civil War? Because they're always saying, you conservatives, you Southern, you love the Confederacy and stuff, which is really weird for me since the Confederates burned my family's hometown, Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, I think twice. And my family was actually in the Union Army, and my grandma had a big picture of Abe Lincoln in the house, and one of my first memories is her taking me to Gettysburg, which is right down the road from Chambersburg. So anyway, I've always thought this is a little weird. So let's test out my theory that the liberals are much more connected to the role and analogous to the Confederates in the modern American milieu. Okay, so let's start out with party. Liberals are the party of the Democrats. The Democrats were a party of the Confederacy. The Union was Republican. Abe Lincoln was a Republican. Okay, advantage, us conservatives. Okay, so more Democrat that way. The old Confederacy was built on the idea that certain Americans didn't have basic civil rights. It dehumanized a whole class of American people to such an extent that it could only be cured in the terrible crucible of the Civil War, that horrible conflict. Which side dehumanizes people and hates civil rights? Well, let's look at the dehumanizing. What people do the modern conservatives, quote, dehumanize? Do they make not human? I'm thinking. Now, the Democrats will say, well, you hate gays. That's not so. That's not true. Well, you hate minorities. No, that's not a thing either. There's none of that. But let's look at the left. They just passed a bill in New York to literally murder babies that could be crawling around. Because of the health of the mother, you could kill a baby anytime before it comes out in New York, and they're high-fiving each other. That kind of dehumanizes a whole class of people. And if you look at kind of Twitter, you see there are whole classes of people that they want to brutalize and hurt, like school kids from Kentucky who happen to have political views that are manifested in hats that they disapprove of. They want to destroy them. They want to attack them. How do I know? They literally tell you that. So I think on the dehumanizing and violence, you've got them, right? What is the conservative analogy to Antifa? I don't see one. That's just there just isn't. So Democrats more Confederate-like. Let's look at civil rights. Let's look at the First Amendment. Okay, freedom of speech. Who's more against freedom of speech? Well, the president says he wants to alter libel laws for public figures. Well, 50 years ago, in a case called New York Times versus Sullivan, the Supreme Court said to win a libel case against a public figure, you must show actual malice or reckless disregard for the truth. And he wants to turn that over. And it's not in the Constitution, but the Supreme Court found about 50 years ago. Before that, you just had to show negligence. You had to go, you were wrong and you shouldn't have said that and you're wrong. Okay, all right, okay, that's something. Democrats want to ban, quote unquote, hate speech, which always seems to be speech that you want to say. They want to deplatform people, whether they do it through the government or through their tech companies, the monster tech companies run by big liberals. They like campaign finance reform that literally makes it a crime to do things like make a movie critical of Hillary Clinton. That was what the Citizens United case was. Guy said, "I want to make a movie critical of Hillary Clinton," and they had to sue the Federal Election Commission to make a movie critical of Hillary Clinton because campaign finance reform allowed the government to control speech. Okay, all right. Freedom of religion. Well, Republicans seem to be for it. Democrats want to kind of limit it. Bake my cake, right? Second Amendment, there's an important civil right. Are you kidding me? How about due process of law? How about having two systems of law? One for the elite, where people like Hillary Clinton get away, and Clapper and Comey get away with lying to Congress, or people get prosecuted. That doesn't seem to be a conservative thing. The dual track, one for them, one for us, justice system, that seems to be a liberal thing. That's another liberal thing. All the stuff the Confederacy was bad about seems to be analogous to stuff the Democrats are bad. What is one thing, though, that is similar? I'm trying to think of it, and I really can't. Oh, wait a minute. A large part of the South, of the military structure, was Southerners in the Civil War. Confederacy had an advantage in trained soldiers, and I guess kind of the conservatives have that advantage now. But in the Civil War, the Union had all the gun makers and was able to make more weapons. And today, wait a minute. The gun makers are like Kimber. It's just moving out of New York. It's moving to the South. All the gun makers are moving to the South. So the South, where the conservative states, now have all the guns. Well, that's just like before when the Union had them. So I guess the analogy really works. Today, the conservatives are the Union. And once again, the Democrats are the Confederacy. I just hope they don't fire on Fort Sumter again. It worked out poorly last time. This is Take That with Kurt Schlichter. If you like what you're seeing here, stop by every Tuesday and Friday. It's free in and outside the paywall. But while you're here, go ahead and subscribe. Just subscribe to Rebel. There's all sorts of great stuff. You can go in, you can get it. It'll be wonderful. You're going to love it. If you want to see more of me, I write at Town Hall every Monday and Thursday, and it's always hilarious. Follow my Twitter feed. It's always hilarious. Read my books. They're occasionally hilarious. My nonfiction is Militant Normals, and my new novel is Wildfire. And it's exciting and fun, and it's about what happens if half of America gets taken over by the left, and they go crazy, and it's funny, and there's guns, and it's cool. Check it out. I'll see you next time on Take That with Kurt Schlichter.